Hello, and welcome to Your Money 2.0. I'm Thomas Fox, Community Outreach Director of Cambridge Credit Counseling. In the past few months, a lot of the news about our economic recovery has been encouraging. In May, the American Institute for Economic Research reported that the leading economic indicators show that the economy is on the mend, although there are still several areas of concern. According to the Institute's research, new orders for capital goods by businesses, the average manufacturing work week, and the ratio of sales to inventories are all increasing. Fantastic news. Also increasing were what the organization calls primary, roughly coincident indicators. These include industrial production, which encompasses manufacturing, mining, and utilities, all usually reliable indicators for an increase in our gross domestic product. There's also some encouraging news on the housing front, which show reductions in delinquency rates on mortgages, home equity loans, and credit cards. According to Equifax, one of the nation's three major credit reporting agencies, April was the third consecutive month we saw such declines. There was, however, some bad news in the area of student loan debt, where delinquencies are trending in the opposite direction. In April, the percentage of students who paid late rose to 11.2%, a significant increase from the 3.5% of students who paid late just a year earlier. The rise in delinquencies is attributed to the lackluster employment market, something we've all witnessed, but which is especially bad for young people. The sad truth is, late student loan payments can have long-lasting effects. Delinquencies not only cause a reduction in a student's credit score, but the fees associated with late payments can cause manageable debt to balloon out of control. Needless to say, poor employment prospects and increasing personal debt are a rough introduction into the workforce for today's college grads. In its recent analysis, Equifax declared that the level of financial risk posed by most Americans is receding, a fact that has many lenders feeling good about the prospects of growing their businesses once again. Of course, the best way to show their confidence would be to stop slashing credit limits while hiking rates and fees, but they're still trying to cover revenues lost to the Credit Card Act. While many of us have felt the pain of the credit crunch on a personal level, we seem to forget that banks are businesses. And like all businesses, decisions have to be made with the best interests of shareholders in mind. This explains some of the harsh practices in the credit card industry, but what about the mortgage market? Well, that's a little more complex. By now, there's a good chance you've heard of a horror story or two about the handling of mortgage modifications. We don't even have to get into how poorly prepared the banks were to handle the flood of applications. All we need to do is look at the percentage of trial modifications that have become permanent, a mere 24.6%. Unlike the credit card business, however, many mortgage lenders are experiencing a measure of consumer revolt, specifically in the form of strategic default. A strategic default is the risky decision by a borrower to stop making payments on their mortgage, even though they have the ability to do so. This decision is quite controversial and not one I can recommend, since non-payment will decimate your credit scores and probably impact your borrowing ability for quite a while. For the people who opt for strategic default, however, the thinking goes that when your home value drops from $400,000 to $150,000 and you still owe $300,000 on the house, some difficult decisions must be made. To them, it's nothing personal, it's just business. Now, where would a consumer have heard a phrase like that before? Well, that's it for this edition. As always, we welcome your feedback and ask for your thoughts and suggestions by emailing us at yourmoney2@cambridgecredit.org. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Thomas Fox for Cambridge Credit Counseling.